As you had heard in the debate on the fiscal note, the Guttmacher Institute has done studies on the income levels of women who get abortions. This is stuff we've been collecting this data for decades. And the fact is that 75% of the women in the country have under 200% of the federal poverty level. And that makes them, in Illinois, because of our generous treatment. In fact, you may not know this, but we have very generous treatment of women who are pregnant. We count women who are pregnant as family size 2. And so they can make up to 213% of the federal poverty level, and we cover them. We cover them for outpatient procedures to take care of them and their baby. Under this bill, because they are family size 2, they are now eligible for an abortion under this bill. So that would make roughly 75% of our 40,000 abortions Medicaid eligible. If you look at the Guttmacher study, they also say in other states with Medicaid, the Medicaid percentage, once you legalize Medicaid abortions, it skyrockets to over 50% of that state's abortions. And as you heard from the gentlelady, there was not unanimity on the amount of cost per Medicaid abortion. I can just give you the numbers from HFS for these last 10 years or so, and there's an LRU study on it. It's over $1,000 an abortion. That's what we're actually paying. Do some simple math, 30,000 times 1,000, it's $30 million. Again, and we don't get a federal match on this money. So that's $60 million of impact to our Medicaid system. Now the question that you're going to have to answer, depending on how you vote on this, is where that money should come from. Should it come from cancer screenings or legitimate medical expenses like heart medicines or insulin? Will it come from necessary surgeries? And how are we going to deal with this after the federal government, which it looks like it's about to block grant Medicaid, so our Medicaid dollars are going to be reduced further. But now there's another issue here that has been clouding the debate over this bill, and this is this business of the policy language from the 1975 abortion law, which frankly had been a footnote in legal history, except that it has now been used as the main reason for this bill. The reason I have a little bit of familiarity here is that because of, well, for over the past 10 years, I've specialized my law practice in constitutional law, including related to abortion. And I can tell you that those of us who practice in this field know full well that this policy language has no effect. And you don't have to take my word for it. You could take the word of Colleen Connell, Director of Reproductive Rights Project of the ACLU, who said, quote, "There are no enforceable laws on the books in Illinois about abortion." This is from a 1991 Chicago Tribune article. She's immediately followed in the Tribune article by a quote from Attorney Paul Linton, counsel for the Anti-Abortion Americans United for Life, who agreed, quote, "Abortions will not be illegal because there's no statute in Illinois that makes abortions generally criminal." Tribune continues, "The Illinois Legislative Research Unit of the General Assembly also shares that view. It would take a new law to outlaw abortion here," the research unit concluded in a 1989 study. I've got extra copies of the 1989 study if you'd like to look at it. It's our own LRU report. It says right here, "A decision by the Supreme Court could not reinstate repealed provisions on abortion in Illinois. Any stricter Illinois limits on abortion would come about only if enacted by the General Assembly." Ladies and gentlemen, that is this business that there's somehow risk of Illinois abortion law changing when Roe v. Wade is overturned in the next few years is false. It is, in the words of today, fake news. It's a smokescreen. There's no one who practices in this area that actually seriously believes that. The entire purpose of this bill is to bring more money, millions of dollars, from the Illinois State Treasury to the abortion industry. And you know what was funny? It's not really funny, it's a shame. I wore black today because I wanted to mourn. And I'm mourning the death of the sensible wing of the Democrat Party. Because just this weekend, the head of the Democratic National Committee said and issued a statement that there can be no dispute within the Democrat Party on abortion. He withdrew the endorsement of a pro-life Democrat who was running for mayor of Omaha, Nebraska, specifically because he was pro-life. There's no room in the Democrat Party anymore for people who are pro-life. You know, the Republican Party, we've got both positions. We're more pro-life than pro-choice on abortion, but we certainly don't say you're not a Republican because of it. And so I look at this bill, I look at the smokescreen and the various back and forth that's happened, and really it's very, very simple. Do you want taxpayer funding of abortion of healthy babies or not? And then you've got the kind of the backdrop of, if you're a Democrat, are you even allowed to vote against this bill? Can you be a Democrat anymore and be pro-life? It's a real shame. It's sad that a major party in our country would take such a hard-line position and remove support from anyone who's pro-life just because of that position, that deeply felt and sincere position. So, Mr. Speaker, for that reason today, I rise in opposition to this bill. I know there are plenty of other people that want to talk about it. But really, look, I mean, we can't afford a $60 million hit to our Medicaid system. And frankly, we can't afford intolerance of people, of their different positions on abortion. Thank you.
Representative Curry is recognized.
Thank you, Speaker and members of the House. I fundamentally believe that abortion should be a woman's private decision, hopefully in consultation with her loved ones and her faith community, and that decision should not be